Football is the most popular sport in the world, with over 230 million active players and more than 1.3 billion viewers worldwide. It has shaped relationships between nations and individuals. It has created vast wealth, and for many reasons, it is more than a hobby, it's an obsession. But have you ever wondered how it began? Today, we'll journey through the thousands of years of history to uncover the origins of one of the most fascinating sports on earth and how its evolution built the largest fan base in the world. Football, in its modern form as we know today, was created over 150 years ago in 19th century England through the Football Association. But if we are talking about earlier versions of the game, that is, games played primarily with the feet but without formal rules, then the story goes much further back to ancient China, Greece, Rome, Mesoamerica, and even Australia. One of the earliest known examples of a team game involving a ball originated in ancient Mesoamerican cultures about 3,000 years ago. Among the Aztecs, it was a part of a border tradition of ritual ball games. These games were deeply symbolic. In some cases, the ball represented the sun, and during certain rituals, the captain of the losing team was sacrificed to the gods. At other times, however, the game was played more casually, especially by children. Meanwhile, in China, a form of football known as the kuju developed around the 3rd to the 2nd century BCE. It was played with a round leather ball, often stuffed with fur or feathers, on a rectangular field. But this wasn't just entertainment, it was also used as military training, requiring players to pass, juggle, and control the ball with precision. A modified version of this game later spread to Japan, where it became known as the Kemari, played in a more ceremonial style. Elsewhere in the world, similar games were imagined. Among the Aboriginal Australians, a game known as the manguk was played. It primarily involved kicking a ball made from leaves or roots, although the exact rules are largely unknown. One key objective stood out: keeping the ball in the air. Historical accounts also suggest that the Turkic people played a game called the tepuk, using a ball made of leadership. And in ancient Egypt, there were ball games involving stitched leather balls filled with sand or rags, sometimes played towards a goal. In ancient Greece, ball games existed as well. These balls were made from leather, stuffed with air. However, due to their low social status, these games were not included in the prestigious Pan-Hellenic Games. The Romans, on the other hand, played a game known as the apastum. It was fast, physical, and often used as a form of military exercise. And it was the Romans who brought such games to the British Isles, then known as the Britannia. Still, how much they directly influenced modern football remains uncertain, because over time, the British developed their own distinct version. There came the Middle Ages. One of the earliest recorded ball games during this period was the Soule, mentioned in France as early as 1147. It was played using both hands and feet, and the objective was simple: get the ball to a goal. The rules varied widely depending on the region. This type of game also appeared in England, with records dating back to 1174. But there was one major problem: it was extremely violent. So violent, in fact, that authorities banned it multiple times. In 1314, Nicholas de Frandon, the Lord Mayor of London, officially banned football due to the chaos it caused in the streets. But like most things people left, it refused to die. By the 17th century, the game had re-emerged in the streets of London, and by the 19th century, it had spread into public schools and universities. However, there was a major issue. There were no universal rules. Different schools played different versions. At Rugby School, players would carry the ball with their hands, giving birth to what we now know as Rugby. At Eton, however, the game was strictly played with the feet, much closer to modern football. In 1848, an attempt was made at Cambridge University to unify these rules. But the real turning point came in 1863. An Englishman named Ebenezer Cobb Morley proposed that a standardized set of rules should be created. This led to a historic meeting in London pub on October 26, 1863, where representatives from 12 clubs gathered. 11 agreed, and just like that, the Football Association was born. From that moment on, everything changed. Rules were standardized, the size and weight of the ball were defined, handling the ball was outlawed, and football began its rapid transformation into a global phenomenon. By the 20th century, the game had exploded in popularity. Players were paid, tickets were sold, clubs, leagues, and international organizations were formed. Football was no longer just a game, it was an industry. Today, football is more than just a sport. It is identity, it is passion, it is culture. Across continents, people wave flags, wear jerseys, celebrate victory, and mourn defeats. Some watch for the thrill, some for the love, others for the bet. But one thing is certain, football connects the world. And now you know its story. From ancient rituals to modern stadiums, from barefoot games to global stars, football has come a long way. See you in the next episode.